Good morning, dear students. My name is Annette van Heerden. I'm your tutor in the diploma in pre-primary as well as junior primary education, mother tongue literacy and development, number 1. And this is a content-based contact session. This content is based on the examinations for 2019. Welcome to this very important module. Literacy development is the most important subject for any junior primary teacher, as this forms the basis for reading, and reading is the pathway for learning throughout a child's school and tertiary career. The purpose of this module is to develop a theoretical understanding of the mother tongue and the second language development. This presentation provides assistance to all 3 examination papers for 2019. Please note, this is not a scope, it's only an assistance. All examination papers are combined for the 2 courses, the DPP and the DJP. It's the pre-primary course and the junior primary course. Seeing that the 2 study guides differ so much, there are a lot of similar work, and there are not a lot of similar work in the 2 study guides for me to ask year after year. Therefore, it may seem as if there are a lot of duplication. Please excuse this. The content of this presentation. Firstly, I'm going to give you suggestions on how to study. Secondly, I'm going to handle your examination paper and the technical aspects of your examination paper. Thirdly, the cue to answer a very good exam paper and how to use the verb to give the correct answer. Fourth, I'm going to tell you how to handle choice questions. 5, the summary of your study material for this year, 2019. 6, how to answer the grammar questions. And number 7, how and when you can contact me. Suggestions on how to study. You cannot pass this subject if you do not know the content of your study guide. You cannot start studying only one day before the examination. Please, dear students, the study guide has 400 pages. This cannot be studied in one day. So, after receiving your study guide, immediately summarize the content. Read through your summary at least once a week to convince you of what is in the summary. Then, about at least 2 months before the examination, start studying. Do not try to study the whole content in one day, but divide the content into portions that you can handle. Re-study the content on a regular basis to ensure that you remember it. Do not try to answer MT1 and MT2 in the same examination. Please, students get confused with the content of the 2 subjects and then give the MT2 answers in the MT1 examination paper. What happens then is that you fail both the subjects. Rather pay enough attention to one semester at a time in order to pass your examination. Now, the cue to answer a very good exam paper is study your IOL guide very well, because all your answers will be from the study guide. Study the work that was summarized in this exam-based contact session. You can also find this on your portal. Study the corrected questions in your returned assignment. This is very important. At least 20% of your assignment questions will be in each and every examination. And remember, with your assignment, I give you clues as to what you did wrong, so that you can rectify and then study it for your examination. Then in the examination, read the questions in the paper until you understand what is asked. Lots of students do not understand what is asked in the questions and then give the wrong answer. So, if you find the words in your question, answer in your own word. This does not mean answer what you think you can answer or from your own experience or something like that. This only means construct the correct facts from your study guide into your own words. For example, I don't want to hear the words or see the words that is in the study guide word for word in your exam paper. Just construct it into your own sentences. Do not make up your own facts and stories to write down. I am not going to give any marks for that. While doing this, while answering in your own words and constructing the facts into your own words, make sure you do not lose some important facts of this specific question. To avoid this, list and number the facts underneath each other wherever it is possible. The only place that you cannot do this listing, is when you are asked to write an essay or for when I ask you to discuss it. Then you must write in a paragraph way. Essays come in a paragraph and the rest you can list them. Remember, my marking cannot help you to pass your exam. I mark according to a memorandum and my work is being moderated. I cannot give you marks when the correct facts is not written down, because I have a moderator that marks my work. If I give you some marks for incorrect facts, she or he will just take the marks away again, so you will not receive them anyway. Only you can help yourself pass the examination by studying all your work very hard. If you failed the previous exam, make sure that you obtain a report on marking from the IOL officers to find out what you did wrong. Very important, the report I hand in is not for a specific student, it's for all students in general. So you will have to remember what you wrote in the previous exam. I cannot write 1,000 reports, and that's how many of you there are. Then your exam papers. In your exam paper, all questions should be answered. That means when there is a question 1, you should have an answer in question 1. You should have an answer in question 2, you should have an answer in question 3, and you should have an answer in question 4. Where a choice question is applicable, make sure you only answer one of the two. But the choice question will be under one number. That will be like question 1, answer this or this. If you answer both the questions in the choice question, only the first one will be marked. And with a choice question, make sure you read, because I will indicate specifically which question is for the DPP students and which is for the DJP students. This is where I couldn't find work that is precisely the same in both study guides. Read your questions with care. Make sure you know what is expected with every verb in each question. The verbs are very important, and I will go through that just a bit later. Make sure you know your English grammar as well as your language structure. Every paper has a question on English grammar and the language structure. This is not precisely in your study guides, so you will have to study this or ask me for help. The technical aspects on the answering of your examination. Your exam paper consists of the three following: a cover page, an instruction page, and then the rest of the paper where the questions should be answered. The cover page is divided into a left and a right column. The left column will be filled in by the tutor when I mark. Please do not fill in there. I have to put your marks there. If I have to scrub out something that you wrote there, then sometimes the marks cannot be seen there. Students, you must fill in the right column. So, in the right column of the cover page, the following headings can be found on this side of the cover page, and you must fill in everything there. Under the heading Student Details, you must fill in the following information: your CIF or your student number. In the next heading, your surname. The following heading, your first name and other initials. For instance, if your name is Maria Josefina Katerina, you must fill in Maria J.C. In the next part, you should fill in your ID number, then also your examination center, where you are writing, where you are sitting right now, busy writing your exam. And lastly, you have to sign, give your signature, sign the cover page. Then there are some general instructions on the cover page at the bottom. The general instructions, you should read through them and make sure you understand each of them. The first one, questions should be answered on the question papers in the lines underneath each question. If you find that these lines are not enough, and I really try to give lots of lines for you to write in, but if you find that they are not enough to answer, at the bottom of the question paper, when all questions are finished, I will add another page with lines where you can but specifically name which questions you are answering here. Number them correctly. Then, answer all the questions. Number 3, use the mark allocation for each question as a guide for how many facts you should write down. If the question count out of 10, you cannot write like 2 folios on that, because I will only mark like the first 15 lines, and then I will stop marking. I'm not there to look for your answers in the book. You should look the answers and sift them out yourself. It is best to number the facts underneath each other for you to see, as well as for me for the marking. Number 4, and this is very, very important, write neatly and legibly. If I cannot read what you wrote, I cannot allocate marks to you. Write on a piece of paper before your examinations and give it to someone to see if they can read what you are writing. Some students really has a very difficult handwriting to read. This paper consists of 8 pages, including the cover page. Count the pages and make sure that all are there. And then the last one, no cheating or disturbing of the exam will be allowed. Serious steps will be taken against anyone who cheat or disturbs an examination center. The next page is a examination instructions. Number 1, no unauthorized materials should be taken into the exam room. and no irregularities will be tolerated. No asking for or giving any assistance to any fellow student. No cell phones will be allowed into the examination room. You will not be allowed to leave the room in the first 30 minutes of the writing session. And if you are late, you will not be allowed to enter the room. The question paper and answering paper is the property of IOL. This may not be kept by you. Parts thereof may not be removed, and this may not be taken out of the exam room. All answers should be written on the IOL pages. No smoking or eating will be allowed in the examination room. And the last one is very, very important. Please, student, sign the checklist in front or at the back sometimes of the room. There where the person looking after the exam is standing should be a checklist. Please sign it. Understanding how to answer a question. Now, every exam paper is set in 3 levels of difficulty. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. These levels are usually indicated by the specific verb that leads the question. In the front part of your study guide, you will find a list of verbs and what is expected of you when you use this verb. You can also send me an email and ask me to help you with the verbs, to send you a document where the verbs are explained. You will have to study this list in the front part of your study guide, or you will lose marks when you are not knowing what to do. The levels in your exam paper is divided as follows. Level 1 is 70% of the paper. Level 2, 20%, and level 3, 10%. Now, how to use the verbs in your answer? I will tell you about the verbs that is most commonly used. Level 1 verbs is list or name. Here you only name or list the content in the answer. You don't even need to write a sentence, only words. Then the other ones are define, describe, outline, explain, summarize, or identify. When you see these verbs, you just give the description or as explanation as you studied it from your study guide. No other information is needed here. Level 1, just the work that is studied from your study guide. But level 2, the verbs is discuss or analyze or comment on or examine or design or create, investigate and demonstrate. With these verbs, you must still fill in or use the facts from your study guide, but you cannot only give the facts as it is. Some other actions is needed. For example, with discuss, you need to give a clear description of the facts and then argue or discuss each of the facts. Now take the verbs that I give you here where I say level 2, discuss, analyze, and go to your study guide in the front part and see what you have to do with every one of these verbs. These are the verbs that I most commonly use. So go to your study guide and see what you have to do when you see the verb analyze. What do you have to do when you see the verb comment? What do you have to do when you see the verb examine or design or create? The description thereof is in your study guide. However, in the study guide, it is not indicating which level the verbs are. That's why I'm now giving you the level of the verbs here. Examine means identify the detailed features of something. That means you give the facts and then you discuss them according to a given direction. And then, very, very important, you draw a conclusion. Marks will also be given for the conclusion. So if you don't give a conclusion, you will not receive those 2 or 3 marks that is allocated for the conclusion. Use the list in your study guide and find out what you will have to do with every verb given above. The level 3 verbs. Evaluate. That means you need to determine the value or the worth or the quality or the success of something according to the basic criteria. Compare means you need to indicate similarity, resemblances, and differences of a phenomena regarding a particular criteria. And then you also need to draw a conclusion about the similarities and differences. But you have to emphasize the similarities. Very often, table format is used to compare phenomena. It's much easier when you use a table. Then you can put the similarity opposite the difference. And it's much easier for you when you do that like that. If you are asked to compare some facts to your class, make sure you indicate which of these facts you have found in your class. Dear students, lots of you don't have classes, so you need to be in daily contact with a tutor teacher that has a class that you can discuss the work with. Now the next verb, discuss critically. With discuss critically, students have to provide a positive and negative points on the facts that is given. And then you have to draw a conclusion. If you just do the discussion and you don't lift out which of them are the positive and which of them are the negative points, I will only mark the 3 or 4 first ones as positive. And for the negative, you will not receive any marks. And remember, I say draw a conclusion. So there will also be marks allocated to the conclusion. So please study how to do this. Determine means that you should use the information given, that means the facts from your study guide, to work out the answer, to work out what is asked. Distinguish or differentiate or contrast also means you describe 2 phenomena or things according to a relevant criteria. Put out clearly the differences between the 2 sets. You can also here set up a table. Draw a line in the middle of the answering page and put them opposite to each other. It is very important that you know what to do with all the verbs, as not knowing will cause you losing valuable marks. Choice questions. As the content of the 2 study guides differ a lot, this was not easy to set up the paper. I therefore had to make use of choice questions, where I could not find enough similar content in both study guides. So when answering a choice question, you must choose the part of the question that occurs in your specific study guide of your course, and you only answer that one. As said previously, this will be under one question. For example, question 2, answer this or this. And I will clearly mark this is for DPPE, this is for DJPE, to help you to choose which one you should answer. Choice questions will look as follows. Say for instance, question 4. Answer only one of the following questions. Judy Haynes conducted a study on the 5 stages of second language acquisition. Name and describe these 5 stages. This, Judy Haynes, is in the pre-primary study guide. So pre-primary students, you will answer this part. Or, David Crystal's theory on child language acquisition involves 5 stages. Describe these 5 stages according to him. You will then find David Crystal is in the DJP study guide. So the junior primary students, you will leave out the first part of the question and only answer this one. Only answer the one that applies to your course. If you answer both, remember, only the first one will be marked. And for DJPE students, that may cause you a lot of marks. Because what will you know about Judy Haynes? She's not in your study guide. So please only answer one. Next is a summary of the most important work in your study guide. I give you the summary in question form. And I also use references for you to find where in the study guide you can find the answers. The reference will look like this. For example, Unit 1, number 2.2.2. This means Unit 1, heading number 2.2.2. And there you will find the answer to this specific question that I summarized for you. The verbs indicating what is expected of you in each question, I put it in bold. See your study guide to know what is expected when using each of these verbs. And then, dear student, please know, if I use one of these questions in the exam paper, I can replace the verbs with another verb for you to give another action in your answer. Remember that. The first one, give an overview or answer the following questions on the language families found in Namibia, including the language demographics. Now for the DPPE students, the answer to this one will be in Unit 1, number 4.1. And for the DJP students, you will find this in number 1.1, and this is a level 1 question. But I can change the word give an overview to discuss. Then it will be a level 2 question. And you guys will have to give the facts and then do a discussion. Or I can change give an overview to answer critically, discuss critically. Then it's level 3. Then you will have to divide the facts into positive and negative and give a conclusion. Okay, number 2, a choice question, answer only one of the following. The DJP students, number 1.3, paragraph 9, as well as number 2.2, paragraph 1. And this is for level 2 and level 3. Compare how the cultural identity of a person relates to his or her personal worldview. See, at top there's a reference where you can find the answer. Or, DPP students, Unit 1, number 4.3, evaluate how cultural diversity and identity are reflected in the language by looking at how the role of the mother tongue education relates to English-only education. This question, answer to this question, will be divided into 2 sections, starting with, if you look at the role of the mother tongue, we can see how cultural diversity and identity have an influence. And the next part when there is much emphasis on English only education. What is related to that? Okay, so you will have to evaluate level 2 and then relate level 3 in this question. 3, another choice question, answer only one of the following. The DPP students, Unit 1, number 4.4.3.1, and this is a level 1 plus and a level 2 question. On second language learning, Halgunsev divided sequential second language into 4 stages. Okay, now, number 1, name and describe each stage. That is level 1, just as it is from your study guide. Number 2, compare each stage to your class. So if you put down the first stage, for example, the silent stage, then you have to compare it and you have to write comparison. In my class, most language at this stage has the silent stage, but the other languages went on to the following stage, something like that. What you found in your class. So if you don't have a class, you need to go find a tutor teacher in a school with a class, grade 1 class. And then the third part of this is also level 2, discuss the founding of the researchers on this regard. Name and describe are level 1 verbs, and only the facts are needed. Compare and discuss are level 2 verbs and need a discussion and a comparison together with the facts. If you don't compare and you don't discuss, you will only receive half the marks of the question. Remember that. Or, for the DJP students in number 1.4, level 1 and level 2, you will see the 2 questions are set in a similar way, but with different facts. In Stephen Krashen's theory of second language acquisition, he discussed multilingual education, also known as MLE, and a 4-stage program. Number 1, describe, this is level 1, MLE and these 4 stages. Number 2, again, underneath each stage, compare this to your class or a class. Number 3, discuss the foundings of research. 4th one, in the DPP Unit 1, number 4.5 and DJP number 1.5. Answer the following questions on the national language policy of Namibia with regard to mother tongue teaching up to grade 4. Now remember, a language policy is a set document sent to you by the Ministry of Education. So you cannot write anything else but what is standing in that policy. Number 5, for the DPP, Unit 2, number 4.1, and the DJP, number 2.1. Define the following terms. Define is a level 1 word. That means give a definition of. Give a definition of literacy. What is the meaning of literacy? Oracy or mental lexicon. Then in DJP number 1.3, define what you understand under the term culture. DJP number 1.4, discuss critically. Remember, that is a level 3 verb. What is understood under the term vocabulary acquisition? Remember, this verb requires a positive part, a negative part, and a conclusion in your answer because it is a level 3 verb. Number 6, describe the alphabetic principle. That is a well-known principle in teaching languages, and you need to know what it is, the alphabetic principle, and its importance in the early literacy development. In the DPP study guide, you will find Unit 2, number 4.3, in the DJP study guide, number 2.4. The 7th one, choose one of the following approaches. This is again a choice question. To develop literacy and discuss each of these approaches. Constructivist learning approach, that is for the pre-primary students, and you will find the answer in Unit 2, number 4.2, or the language experience approach. That one is in the DJP study guide, and that is in number 2.3. Discuss is a level 2 verb. It needs more than only the facts from your study guide. So what are you going to do? Firstly, you're going to put down the facts from your study guide, and underneath each fact, a small discussion. Okay. Number 8, that's another choice question. Answer one of the following two questions, depending on your choice of study. The DPPE students, in your study guide, Unit 2, number 4.4, as well as Unit 3, Learning Activity 6, How Children Learn Words and Vocabulary. Describe how fluent speech and a use of a different variety of vocabulary can be promoted. Describe, only 11.1. And then the DJP students, in your guide, number 2.5, describe the relationship between oral language and literacy learning. Only level 1, you can just write the facts from your study guide. Number 9, also a choice question for the DPP students, DPP Unit 2, number 4.5. Critically discuss, level 3. The importance of storytelling and story reading for early literacy development, arriving to a conclusion. Remember, a critical discussion as well as a conclusion. And the second part of this question, explain the procedures of DLTA. Go to Unit 2, number 4.5, see what the meaning of DLTA is and what the procedures is for DLTA. It's only level 1, you can only use the facts from your study guide. DJP students, your question in this number 9, DJP number 2.6 in your study guide. If the DPP has a critical discuss, DJP will also have a level 3 question. If DPP has a level 1 question, DJPs will also be level 1. So that will be the same. Critically discuss, again, your critical discussion and your conclusion. The importance of storytelling and story reading for early literacy development, coming to a conclusion. And then the second part, list the elements of storytelling and story listening that can assist a child to develop literacy. You will find that in number 2.6. Number 10, in table form, list 10 different types of teaching and learning materials that you can establish in your classroom to promote preparatory and incidental reading in your class. Any teaching and learning material that you can put up on your wall that can help and promote preparatory and incidental reading. For example, the names of the children. Put it on the wall. Other children will try to read their friend's name. Now, in the adjacent column, remember I said this must be in table form. So in the adjacent column, next to each learning material, State in which way it will assist the learner in developing the language concepts. In the DPP study guide, number 4.6, in the DPP study guide, the learning materials is actually in a table form for you to study. In DJP, number 3.7 and 3.8 is learning materials. It is not in the in table form, so you will put it in table form. You will make two headings on your table. The first heading on the left column will be teaching and learning material, and then in the right column, how it will assist. Please remember that you put the part of assisting next to the specific material. Number 11, tabulate. Tabulate also just means put it in table form. The differences between formal and informal assessment. In the DPP study guide, it is number 4.6.2, paragraph 1, 2, and 3. And in the DJP study guide, it is number 3.3. It is also informal assessment on the left side, formative assessment on the right side, and just list them and show the differences. Then the second part of this question. Explain why only these two, informal and formative assessment, are suitable to assess young children. That means explain why you don't give young children a formal examination. And you will find it in the parts in your study guides that was indicated above. Number 12, evaluate the success of the development and extension of children's vocabulary in your pre-primary classroom by using the well-known word wall. Dear students, this is not the word wall. There is something called a word wall. Please, this is the one that you have to evaluate. Some students I always find them describe the word wall. That's not what is asked here. Read the question correctly, please. In the DPP study guide, unit 3, you will find a part, the word wall, and also in the DJP study guide, number 3.8.2. Evaluate is a level 3 verb, so students will receive marks for the evaluation. Evaluation will be something like this. I can do this, and this is how it will help. Evaluate how it will help the development. Okay. Sorry. In the next one, in the DJP, it's only in the DJP study guide, number 3.4. So DPP students can also be asked to do some research at their local school and then answer this question from practical experience in the pre-primary classroom. Sorry. Describe how the thematic or integrated approach to pre-primary education works. Students, this is very important because the government of Namibia installed the thematic approach as the sole approach to pre or junior primary education. In all schools, the thematic approach must be used in teaching in a class. The thematic approach is where you teach students through themes. Now this must be required. You cannot go teaching if you don't know what the thematic approach is. So, or it's also called the integrated approach. It's the same thing. Just go make sure that you know what this is. And then the next part of this question, discuss the benefits of the thematic or the integrated approach in the pre-primary or grade 1 classroom. Now the benefits is stipulated why did the government or the Ministry of Education prescribe this approach to all schools. There are lots of benefits to that. So discuss those benefits. In every exam paper, there is a grammar question. Students really struggle to answer this, and therefore I'm now going to explain how to answer this in depth. This is for both courses, DJP and DPP. The question might look like this. Use the given sentence. That means I will provide you with a sentence and provide each different part of speech. I will also give you the different part of speech. And for every part of speech, you must give a function, and then in B, look for all the examples of this part of speech in the sentence that I gave you. Do not use your own sentence. You will not receive marks for that. Now, the given sentence will be something like this. I will differentiate the sentences. I will not use the same sentence. He ran fast to the blue gate and closed it slowly. Then I will ask you a verb. And then at A, you must give the action or the state. That means the function. What does a verb do? The verb is the action or the state verb in the sentence. So if you look at the sentence above, what actions is taken? Run, he ran, and he closed. You only write the words that you know is verbs. You cannot write the whole sentence and make me choose which word is the verb. You must show your example at number B clearly. Number A, you must give the function. Or what does the verb do? The function of the verb is to give an action or a state. Number B, you must take it from the sentence. Ran is an action and closed is an action. Okay. The next one asks the noun. A noun, what is the noun doing? A noun is a thing or a person. And now, what thing or person is there? Gate. He is also a person, but he is not a noun. He is a pronoun. So that will not be used here. Each time, just give the specific word from the sentence. Adverb is describe the verb, and in the specific sentence, what describe how you ran fast, how you closed slowly. The pronoun replaces the noun, and the pronoun is he and it. It is standing in the place of the boy or the gate. A preposition links a noun to another word, and for this, in this sentence, the preposition is to. The adjective describes the noun. How does the noun look? Now, what is the noun? The noun is, let's go back. The noun is gate, and how does the gate look? The gate is blue. So, the adjective is blue. A conjunction links the two sentences or clauses together, and two things has been done. Go back to the sentence. He ran to the blue gate. First sentence. Closed it slowly. Second sentence. And is the one linking them together. Another question can be asked like this. Provide each of the following parts of language with a short explanation. Again, number A, the explanation, as well as an example from the given sentence. I took the same sentence. He ran fast to the blue gate and closed it slowly. The main sentence. What is a main sentence? A main sentence is a sentence with a subject, a verb, and an object. So that is your explanation. And then, example, he ran fast to the blue gate. He is a subject, ran is a verb, blue gate is the object. Now, a phrase is a group of words that do not have both a subject and a verb. So let us look at the phrase. The phrase is, and closed it slowly. Closed is a verb, slowly is an object, and there is no subject because he is doing both things and he is with the main sentence. So when it doesn't have the subject and it says and closed it slowly, it's a phrase. The subject is the person doing the deed. For example, in this sentence, he. The object is what is being done to. What is he being doing to? Not the verb, the object. He, and he runs to what? To the blue gate. The blue gate is the object. Or another way, change the given sentence into the following tenses. I catch the ball that my sister throws. Past tense. I caught the ball that my sister threw. Future tense. I shall catch the ball that my sister will throw. Remember future tense? I shall, we shall, all the rest will. Present continuous tense. That's a tense with a ing. I am catching the ball that my sister is throwing. Am and is present tense, and catching and throwing is continuous. Okay, the past continuous tense. I was catching the ball that my sister was throwing. So was and was is past tense of am and is, and catching is still continuous, that is of no sense. Make sure that you know the differences between the present and the present continuous tense, and the past continuous tense. I can also ask you to write down the present tense and then give the sentence in the past tense, any of the. Make sure you know your simple tenses and your continuous tenses. That's very important. The following part of speech can be tested: a verb, a noun, a pronoun, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, the main sentences, the phrase, the subject, and the object. Change a given sentence into the following sentences: present tense, past tense, future tense, present continuous tense, past continuous tense, future continuous tense. Future continuous tense will usually be will be singing, will be running. To the student, please note that tutors do not work in the IOL office. We are part-time workers who work from our homes and cannot help you with any administrative problems. I can only help you with problems concerning your subject content. That means your study guide and what's in it. And with that, I will always help you. I'm always available for help. But if you have a question you would like to ask me, it is best to send me an email at vanheerdenfam@gmail.com, and then I can give you a well-constructed answer. Please note that I tutor different subjects in different courses. So please name your course code and your subject code and your semester code. You do not need to give me your student number. That's not necessary. But give me your subject number and code. If you have to phone me, please adhere strictly to my calling times from Monday to Thursdays from 9 o'clock to 8 in the evening. Fridays only 9 to 12. Unfortunately, I will not answer any calls over weekends, especially on Sundays. Please, that is the day of the Lord, and I will not do that. I wish you the best of luck for your examination. Your tutor, Annette.